Chapter 21 Minato's Choice. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The two of them chatted for a while before Fugaku cut to the chase and brought up business. Minato, we go way back, so I'll just be blunt. Please don't take offense. Minato smiled warmly. Honesty is the best policy, especially when solving problems. Fugaku nodded, his expression serious. The Sharingan is everything to the Uchiha clan. For generations, our members have practically worshipped it. Normally, we'd never let the Sharingan fall into outside hands. But we're not heartless or unjust. Obito and Kakashi were brothers in arms, heroes of Konoha. Any gifts between them deserve our respect. However, even as the clan head, I can't just dictate on such a critical matter. I need to consider the views of my clan. Do you understand what I'm getting at, Minato? Minato smiled slightly. I may not be from a big clan, but I understand your predicament, Fugaku. As the leader, you have to put the clan first, just like the Hokage has to put Konoha first. He really gets it Fugaku thought. He understands that if you don't stand with your people, they'll abandon you. Uchiha Madara, despite his strength, learned that the hard way. Because he didn't stand with the clan, no one followed him when he left Konoha. You're absolutely right, Minato. To appease the clan, I need to give them a good reason for this. This is also for Kakashi's own protection. It'll keep anyone from targeting him later. Minato's interest piqued. What exactly do you have in mind, Fugaku? Fugaku took a deep breath. Obito's gone. I want to add another Uchiha to your squad, as your direct student. Called it, Uchiha Gen must have talked to Fugaku about this already, why is he so eager to become my student, is it genuine admiration, or something else, Minato suspected the latter and felt a twinge of annoyance towards Uchiha Gen, still, he didn't intend to reject the offer. He was confident he could handle it. Okay. Fugaku was overjoyed. Minato, what do you think about Itachi? Minato's mind stuttered. Itachi, isn't it supposed to be Uchiha Gen, what's that kid up to? A look of embarrassment flashed across Fugaku's usually stoic face. Gen said that as long as it's an Uchiha, it doesn't have to be him. And well, even though I'm the clan head, I'm still a father. I guess I have my own selfish reasons sometimes. You're incredibly strong, Minato, and highly respected. You could even be Hokage someday. If Itachi became your student. Fugaku's flattery made Minato feel pretty good. After all, this was the young leader of the Uchiha clan, the most powerful family in the ninja world. At the same time, Fugaku's words eased Minato's annoyance and sparked some new thoughts, so, Gen values his family above all else. The question is, does he value the village more than the clan? Probably not, if he's willing to put his own ambitions aside for his family. What a shame. He has great potential, but his vision might be limited. Thoughts raced through Minato's mind. He smiled. Itachi's a great kid, Fugaku, but he's too young. Team 7 needs someone who can fight alongside them right now. Fugaku couldn't help but feel a little disappointed, but he quickly brushed it off. It's not the end of the world if Itachi can't be his student now. Maybe he can become one later. That's true. I didn't think it through. In that case, Minato, choose between Gen and Shisui. Minato had heard of Uchiha Shisui. He was a rising star from the Kirigakure front and one of the Uchiha clan's two prodigies, gaining fame even earlier than Gen. I wonder what he's like. Minato cared more about someone's values than their raw power. If he hadn't suspected that Gen was family first, Minato would have chosen the guy he already knew and skipped the awkward adjustment period, but now, Minato decided to do some digging before making a decision. Choosing a student is a big deal. Can I have some time to think about it? Of course. If it weren't his son, Fugaku wouldn't really care who Minato picked. Still, he secretly hoped it would be Gen. For one, they were more familiar. And two, Fugaku believed that Gen was smarter and more mature. With business concluded, the two of them relaxed and chatted about other things. By the time Uzumaki Kushina, Uchiha Mikoto, and Itachi returned, it was already late, so Minato and his wife headed home. The next morning, Minato went to the Hokage's office. "Minato, what can I do for you?" Sarutobi Hiruzen, wearing his Hokage hat and robe, sat at his desk with a pipe in his mouth. He smiled kindly. "It's like this, Hokage-sama." Minato recounted the events of the previous night, holding nothing back. "Hokage-sama, what kind of person is Uchiha Shisui?" Shisui was a descendant of Uchiha Kagami, one of Hiruzen's former teammates. As such, Hiruzen had kept a quiet eye on him. Hiruzen had no objections to Minato taking on another Uchiha as his student. After all, Hiruzen had handpicked Team 7, so he knew there was an Uchiha involved. Before the Ninetales incident, the gap between Konoha's leadership and the Uchiha clan wasn't that wide. At least, Hiruzen wasn't particularly prejudiced against them. "Shisui is the descendant of Uchiha Kagami, my teammate and one of the second Hokage's students. Kagami was an Uchiha with the will of fire. As his descendant, I've been paying attention to him. Shisui is polite and kind to everyone. He's different from most Uchihas. He loves the village and has taken risks on the battlefield countless times for its sake. In my opinion, he has the potential to inherit the will of fire. He just needs some guidance. While Gen has also made significant contributions, from what you said, it seems he might have a more limited perspective. As a potential Hokage, you need to be cautious when choosing students. Pick the best of the best." Minato pondered for a moment, then looked up. "Hokage-sama, I understand." "Good. You're dismissed." After Minato left, he used the Flying Thunder God Jutsu to return home and tell Kushina his decision. Kushina then went to the Uchiha clan to find Mikoto and inform her of her husband's decision. Mikoto went to the Konoha police department to tell Fugaku the news. Fugaku was slightly disappointed, but he quickly accepted it. They were all Uchiha, after all. He then prepared to send for Uchiha Gen. Mikoto volunteered to handle the task on her way back to the clan. Chapter 22 Mikoto with multiple attributes. You are listening at novelfull.audio. At the Uchiha clan's training grounds, Gen Uchiha was pounding the track. Even though the morning sun wasn't scorching, his loose, black short-sleeved shirt was already soaked. The wet-dry cycle of the fabric left a salty residue that bugged him, so Gen ripped off his shirt and kept running. He wasn't just running, though. Gen's workout included push-ups, sit-ups, pull-ups, frog jumps, the whole 9 yards. His main goal was to sharpen his physical skills and build raw strength. Strength was crucial for Gen because it was a prerequisite for tapping into the soul fruit's power. You didn't have to use chakra, but you did need stamina. Using chakra just helped conserve your physical reserves. Gen's one regret was that his chakra alignment didn't include lightning. That would have made boosting his physical prowess way easier. Luckily, ninjas could learn new chakra types through training, and with the soul fruit on his side, picking up new chakra affinities would be a walk in the park compared to what others faced. When improving his physical skills and strength hit a wall, he'd whip up a Leian Advanced Homets, which would not only crank up his combat abilities but also help him master chakra transformations. Once he'd mastered the lightning element and unlocked the thunder release armor, the Cloud Village's secret ninjutsu, he could push his physical skills and strength even further. As for the 8 inner gates, those weren't for him. Man, if only there was some kind of trade-in system. He'd give anything to swap for the third Raikage freakish physique. Then he could go wild with the soul fruit. Generally, ninjas only displayed 1 or 2 chakra affinities, but those were just the dominant traits of their chakra. It was relatively easy to train ninjas with those standout qualities, but unearthing hidden affinities? That was a whole different ball game. The human body had both yin and yang, plus the 5 elements. In theory, everyone could cultivate chakra with all the attributes through training. Of course, that was just a theory. Even developing their primary chakra was tough for most ninjas. Mastering 2 chakra types and being fluent in the corresponding transformations was one of the prerequisites for becoming a jonin. While Gen was grinding, Mikoto Uchiha showed up at the training ground, just like her clan had told her to. "Gen, over here." Hearing her voice, Jen kicked it into high gear, zooming over to her in a flash. "What's up, Mikoto?" He wiped the sweat from his forehead, grinning, seeing Jen's sweaty, chiseled physique. Mikoto thought to herself, "Damn, this kid's ripped, add that to his good looks and he's got some serious charisma. If I was a girl, I might have a little crush, star." "Hey, Jen, what's with the tattoo?" Mikoto looked shocked, staring at the lifelike fire dragon inked on his left arm. "Like it? Cool, right?" Of course, Jen wasn't about to spill the beans. He played it off like it was a regular tattoo, even showing it off. "You're too young for tattoos." Jen rolled his eyes. "Come on, Mikoto, I'm not a kid anymore. I'm a jonin now. And if my body's not fully developed yet, it's just about there, star. Who isn't a jonin? Besides, being a kid isn't about your ninja rank." Mikoto said, brushing hair from her forehead, her soft smile spreading like sunshine. Her figure radiated a subtle, inviting fragrance, whoa, a gentle older sister is a dangerous thing, star. Especially when that sister is a potential wife and the future mother of the protagonist, not to mention his genius little brother, star. Feeling the blood rush in one direction, Jen quickly recited the ice heart technique under his breath, fighting the urge to stir. "Wait, you're actually a jonin?" Jen looked surprised, partly acting, partly genuine. He knew Mikoto was strong, but he hadn't realized she was already jonin level. Then again, Jen forgot that in the comics, Mikoto was a jonin. "Yeah, but I'm retired. I've seen some things. I fought in the Second Shinobi World War. I'm no delicate flower." As she spoke, Mikoto's eyes flashed open, revealing a pair of scarlet Sharingan, each with 3 tomo, radiating an eerie chill. 2 tomo Sharingan were enough to reach jonin strength, and 3 usually guaranteed it. "I believe it. It's hard to picture, though. Normally, you're so pretty and graceful, gentle as a lamb." Flattered by the compliment, Mikoto smiled. "As a ninja, disguise is a basic skill. Just a figure of speech, though. Not actual disguise." "Got it. So, what does grown-up mean in Mikoto's book?" Jen asked, all innocence. Seeing his guileless expression, Mikoto realized, even though he's a ninja prodigy, and way smarter than he lets on, in some ways, he's just a normal kid, star. Poor thing, losing his parents. I can't imagine the hardships and dangers he's faced to get here. No wonder he's a little clueless about some things, star. Feeling a surge of maternal instinct, Mikoto softened her smile and voice. "To me, growing up means getting married, starting a family, and being able to provide. Speaking of which, is there a girl you like, Jen?" Jen shook his head. "Not yet. What kind of girl are you into?" "I'll keep an eye out in the clan. Established families like the Uchiha usually married within the clan, avoiding outsiders whenever possible. That was to minimize the chance of the Sharingan spreading beyond the family. And they didn't marry commoners because ninjas, and their descendants, needed the potential to become ninjas. Not everyone in the world could mold chakra. The percentage was actually pretty low. Of course, there were more female ninjas than male. Most male ninjas had to marry civilian women. Whether their offspring could become ninjas was all about luck. I don't really hang out with many girls, but you're the prettiest and coolest, Mikoto. If you're looking, try to find someone like you. Jen started out thoughtful, then his eyes widened with expectation. Mikoto's heart skipped a beat and her cheeks flushed. Is he flirting with me? Probably not. He probably doesn't know much about that sort of thing. This is probably the truth. Well, even though I'm married, the fact that Jen Uchiha, smart, strong, and handsome, is using me as the gold standard. Guess I still got it. Back in the day, tons of guys in the clan were all over me, including guys just as capable as Fugaku, and even better looking. If I wasn't married, maybe I wouldn't have married who I did. Although, my life isn't bad, Okay, I'll keep my eyes peeled. It's getting late. I should head home and cook for Itachi. You should shower and then swing by the police station to see Fugaku. Come by the house sometime. Gen was a genius, both on and off the battlefield. He was good-looking and charming. Everyone in the clan should cozy up to him, both for public and personal reasons. Sure thing, Mikoto. See ya. Bye. Mikoto turned and left, her knee-length black skirt swaying, revealing a hint of mature allure. Watching her go, Gen's eyes flickered. He went into the shade, put on his shirt and headed home for a shower before hitting up the police station, *, too lazy to ask for the block to be removed, so I just edited and reposted, *. Chapter 23 Conjecture, please follow up. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Konoha Police Department, 3rd floor, Deputy Minister's Office, *, knock, 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 *, Gen Uchiha, face calm, rapped 3 times on the door. Come in. Gen Uchiha opened the door, closed it behind him, walked forward, bowed slightly and said, young clan head. Gen, come in. No need to be so formal. Relax and have a seat. Gen Uchiha smiled, saying nothing. He sat down opposite Fugaku Uchiha, posture perfect. When your boss tells you to relax, taking it seriously is just plain dumb. Besides, even though the Uchiha clan is more democratic than the Hyuga, they're still the most powerful clan in the ninja world, and etiquette matters. If you truly disregard etiquette, you're just asking for trouble. Young clan head, what can I do for you? I negotiated with Minato based on your idea. He made his choice today. Minato-senpai didn't pick me, did he? You knew. Fugaku Uchiha asked, surprised. Just a guess. How'd you guess? If I'd been chosen, you would have congratulated me the second I walked in, and your smile wouldn't have looked so forced. You're very observant, General, a true ninja. Actually, Gen Uchiha was bullshitting. The real reason was that he knew Fugaku Uchiha's type. The guy had his flaws, one being a lack of backbone. No matter how you sugarcoat the conversation with Namake's Minato with the Sharingan as a bargaining chip, it still comes across as a threat. If Minato Namake's doesn't play ball, doesn't compromise, and doesn't give the Uchiha clan face, there will be trouble. It's just a matter of degree. If Minato Namake's stands his ground and everyone's unhappy, he'll offend Minato Namake's, the Hokage candidate. From his own perspective or the clan's, Fugaku Uchiha wouldn't want to take responsibility and honestly say he was the one who came up with the idea. This is Uchiha Gen's fault. It has nothing to do with Uchiha Fugaku, nor does it have anything to do with the Uchiha clan. He'd vaguely mentioned the Iwagakure battlefield before, and now he's repeating the trick, pretending to act on behalf of the family. Even if Namake's Minato doesn't dislike him, he'll most likely pick Shisui, who has a bigger picture. Besides, Fugaku Uchiha had high hopes for his eldest son, so he'd seize the chance to suggest Uchiha Itachi become Namake's Minato's disciple. After all, neither he nor Shisui, no matter how close, could compare to Itachi Uchiha. Can you trust any clan members more than family? All things considered, losing out was pretty normal, but no sweat. He carefully presented the idea, because Orochimaru is a better fit for him than Namake's Minato. What you could get from Orochimaru is worth more than what you could get from Namake's Minato. Given his personality, evolving his 2 Magatama Sharingan through normal Sharingan evolution would be tough. Even though he has the soul fruit and keeps his 2 Magatama Sharingan in check, he can become a true powerhouse, but who wouldn't want more power? Normal evolution is difficult, and he doesn't want to evolve the normal way. In his free time, he thought about using his unique advantage, the soul fruit, to promote the evolution of the Sharingan. The core of Sharingan evolution is a massive mental jolt, stimulating the brain to produce special chakra. Evolving the Sharingan, the special chakra in the brain is the Sharingan's so-called pupil power. The spirit is tied to the soul. The soul fruit can control the soul at will. Can the soul reverse engineer the spirit, which then acts on the brain, producing special chakra? He couldn't experiment on himself. That part of the brain is too mysterious and fragile. Since he can't do it himself, he'll have to experiment on others. And who in the ninja world is better for scientific research experiments than Orochimaru, the ninja world's future top scientist? Even Senju Tobarama's expertise is only in ninjutsu. There are a bunch of scientific research projects, and research on ninjutsu is just one aspect, albeit the most important. He needs to learn scientific research techniques and ideas from Orochimaru. If needed, he can break his research project into pieces and ask Orochimaru for advice. If the direction is solid, Uchiha believes that with his efforts and Orochimaru's help, he can pave a new path for Sharingan evolution. As for whether this path is only suited for him, he doesn't care if it doesn't fit others. He's doing it for himself, he won't share it unless necessary. Too many kaleidoscopes make them worthless, and they won't highlight his uniqueness. Worth mentioning, Fugaku Uchiha didn't awaken the Mangekyo. Fugaku Uchiha's kaleidoscope is anime only, from Itachi, not in the Itachi novel, manga, or set collection, the majority rules, so Fugaku doesn't have a kaleidoscope in this book. But don't be too bummed out. We still have Lord Orochimaru. Who becomes Hokage is still up in the air. Fugaku Uchiha offered in comfort. From how Fugaku introduced his eldest son to Minato, Fugaku clearly favored Namake's Minato, not that Fugaku looks down on Orochimaru. Fugaku and Orochimaru have worked together before. Orochimaru's temperament, personality, and methods are total opposites of Namake's Minato, but they're also very different. Minato Namake's is the more likable type, and the Uchiha clan trusts him to treat them well. You're right, young clan head. It's all good. We're all Uchiha. Everything is for the good of the family. By the way, have you talked to Lord Orochimaru yet? Fugaku Uchiha nodded, pleased. Not yet. Orochimaru-sama just got back to the village and plans to pay his respects in a few days. I should speak with Lord Orochimaru on behalf of the family. Why? Wouldn't it seem neglectful? It's secret. My goals are smaller than yours, young clan head. And you can't do it openly. It has to be on the down low. How can other people see it if you put it all out there? Fugaku Uchiha looked thoughtful. That makes sense. First, it would hurt Uchiha's rep if word got out he was playing both sides. Second, it might piss off the two contenders. Third, some might secretly sabotage the situation. Since Minato-senpai's side is in the open, Orochimaru-sama's side should be kept in the dark. Under the table, young clan head. What do you think? Recalling the two's personalities and work styles, Fugaku Uchiha agreed. Do as you say. Be generous with your offer. Don't be stingy. Don't let the Uchiha look bad. We Uchiha have cash to burn. Seeing Fugaku Uchiha's confidence, Uchiha suddenly sensed the rich guy aura. Luckily, he doesn't have a pay-to-win system, or he might get the urge to start stealing. Rest assured, young clan head. I won't let the Uchiha down. Who doesn't want to be rich? Chapter 24 Mitarashi Anko. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Oh, hey, I need to remind you of something, Chief. What's up? Fugaku Uchiha was puzzled. Had he missed something? I think no matter who becomes Hokage, we Uchiha have to play it even. Our approach needs to stay consistent. Fugaku frowned. Minato's fine, but with Orochimaru, the Uchiha have to pony up some real cash. We're rich, but we're not suckers, right? Of course not. My bad for not being clear. What I mean is, we can trade favors, but we can't just cut off funding unilaterally. Even if Orochimaru doesn't win the Hokage gig, he's still got power, status, and clout. We can't afford to burn that bridge. Back then, nobody would have guessed that Orochimaru, the third Hokage's student and a Hokage candidate, would betray the leaf. So, Uchiha's point was valid. Orochimaru's influence was nothing to sneeze at. In the original timeline, he was a leaf rogue for over a decade, and even with the village trying to bury the news, someone like Mizuki was still a fanboy. Don't sweat it. I'm not that short-sighted. If there's something in it for us, I'm fine with keeping the funds flowing. Uchiha's expression shifted slightly. Chief, I didn't mean it like that. I just... Don't overthink it. I know you're looking out for the clan. No offense taken. Fugaku was pleased with Gen Uchiha's concern, but he just smiled and reassured him. Gen Uchiha breathed a sigh of relief. It's getting late. I won't keep you from your work. I'll head out. All right. Fugaku nodded, grabbed his pen, and got ready to tackle the mountain of paperwork. After leaving the office, Gen Uchiha didn't go home. He went straight to Yashiro Uchiha for a favor. First, he borrowed Yashiro's office to write a letter before sending it, and second, he tapped into the police force's resources to get a fix on Anko Mitarashi's general whereabouts. Look, Orochimaru was slippery. You couldn't just show up at his place unannounced. Also, for a first meeting, it was polite to have someone introduce you. Actually, Gen Uchiha didn't give a damn about being polite. Orochimaru loved talent. If you were a genius and useful, he wouldn't care about manners, but Gen wasn't just representing himself. He was representing the whole Uchiha clan, so he had to play the game. Once he had Anko's location, Gen Uchiha left the police station and headed out of the clan compound and into bustling Konoha village. About 10 minutes later, Uchiha pulled up at a place called Sweet Home in Konoha's business district. This place was all about desserts, especially their mochi balls and red bean soup, which were crazy popular. Welcome. Two waitresses in matching red and white outfits, kinda like maids, saw Gen Uchiha's handsome face and perked right up. Their voices were extra sweet and loud. Uchiha smiled slightly and said, I'll take a bowl of red bean soup and a serving of mochi balls. The two waitresses, a little distracted by the charm, said yes repeatedly and raced each other to the counter to place the order. Being handsome had its perks. He'd never experienced this kind of treatment back in his old life. Gen Uchiha sighed quietly, glanced around casually, and settled down at a table next to a girl with a purple bob cut, wearing dark brown clothes, and a determined face. The girl, who was busy stuffing her face with mochi balls and red bean soup, looked up and frowned. Who are you? Gen Uchiha, decked out in a blue shirt and white pants, grinned. His handsome face looked extra fresh and friendly. Hey there. My name's Gen Uchiha. From the Uchiha clan. Anko, who was 12 at the time, shook her head. Doesn't look like it. What do you want? Uchiha Gen didn't beat around the bush. He pulled out the white card and got straight to the point. I want to meet your teacher, Lord Orochimaru. Not just for me, but for the entire Uchiha clan. Can I just offer these mochi balls and red bean soup as a thank you? Just then, the waiter arrived with the food, and Uchiha Gen gestured toward it. Anko's eyes lit up, her throat bobbed, she slapped Uchiha Gen on the shoulder without a second thought, and said with a grin, You're alright. I'll do it. Enjoy. Gen Uchiha nodded slightly, then waved, and the waiter turned and left. Aren't you gonna introduce yourself? We might be classmates soon. As he spoke, Gen Uchiha slid the mochi balls and red bean soup over. Classmates? Teacher Orochimaru's got high standards. Anko sized up the guy in front of her and said with a touch of pride, so, Anko didn't follow Orochimaru into the Third Ninja War. No wonder he hadn't seen her on the battlefield at Kumogakure. Otherwise, he'd have heard something about her. Also, Orochimaru still had some humanity left back then. He'd seen his former student, Naoki, die on the battlefield, so he wouldn't have wanted Anko, still a genin, in harm's way. With Orochimaru's status and power, he could keep Anko safe. That's fine. I think I can cut it. I hope so. I like you. It'd be cool to have a junior. Why not a senior? Anko looked at Uchiha Gen like he was crazy and emphasized, I called dibs. But I'm older than you. I'm 13 this year, so I should be stronger. Gen Uchiha said with a smile. You're a year older, yeah, but why's that mean you're stronger? I'm super strong. Anko put down her mochi balls and spoon, shook her fists, and said seriously. Uchiha propped up his head with his right hand and said casually, but I'm already a jonin. A jonin? Anko was floored. How could that be? He's a jonin and only a year older than me. Could this guy be some kind of Kakashi-level genius? No way, absolutely not. Anyone can talk big. I could say I'm gonna be Hokage soon. Wanna bet? What's the bet? If I'm a Jonin, you're my junior from now on. If I'm not a Jonin, you're my senior from now on. Plus, I'll pay for all your desserts from here on out. Junior, senior, whatever. If he won, wouldn't he get to eat desserts whenever he wanted? This guy's bluffing. Come on, Anko, don't let him scare you. Deal. Uchiha grinned, sat up straight, and formed a seal with his hands. With a poof, a cloud of white smoke appeared and quickly faded, and a second Uchiha appeared. The sudden commotion grabbed the attention of the other customers, but they quickly looked away. They were all Konoha villagers, so they were used to seeing ninjutsu now and then. Still, they whispered to each other, curious about the ninjutsu and dreaming of becoming a ninja. I'm gonna head home and get my Jonin certificate. Fine. Watching Uchiha Gen leave, Anko asked in shock, was that a shadow clone? You know your stuff. Spot on. Anko's face fell. The shadow clone technique was a B-rank ninjutsu. Most ninjas couldn't learn it. She might really end up a junior. Hey, don't look so bummed. Wouldn't it be cool to have a senior? If someone's messing with you, I'll set them straight. I have a teacher. I don't need your help. You really want to bother Lord Orochimaru over something like that? Would Orochimaru be happy to see you so down? Anko was horrified. She could never let her teacher down. From that perspective, having a senior wasn't so bad. After thinking it over, Anko cheered up again. Chapter 25 Uchiha Shisui. You are listening at novelfull.audio. After a bit, Uchiha Gen's shadow clone popped back with the official Jounin promotion notice. Gen Uchiha set down his spoon, grabbed a napkin, and wiped his mouth. He took the document from the clone and handed it over to Anko. The clone poofed into smoke and vanished. Anko scanned the document carefully, then returned it to Uchiha Gen, stone-faced. Even though she'd braced herself, Hondo still felt a pang, a 1-year gap. That's the jump from Genin to Jounin. Quit your moping. I'll buy you this dessert, and another one when I officially become Lord Orochimaru's disciple. Anko, not yet jaded by Orochimaru's betrayal, still had her cheerful side. Hearing this, she brightened up immediately. You said it, don't try to weasel out of it. Nah, I got some savings tucked away. Let's bounce. After settling the bill, they left Sweet Home together, walking a bit before heading their separate ways home. Around 6 that evening, Uchiha Gen, fresh from a workout and shower, flopped on the couch to mess around with Zhu Rong. Playing was training, actually. Gen Uchiha tapped into the connection between his soul and the soul fruit, getting a feel for the different properties of the flames inside Zhu Rong. This was helping him level up his mastery of fire-style transformations. Ding dong, star, the doorbell buzzed. Zhu Rong, floating in the air, paused, then zapped over and hit the courtyard gate switch before zooming back to Uchiha Gen's left forearm, becoming a vivid tattoo. Uchiha Gen opened the door, strolled out to the yard, and grinned. What brings you guys here? Come on in. It was his old Team 7 buddies, Kakashi and Noara Rin. They followed Gen Uchiha into the living room. Gen grabbed 3 bottles of juice from the fridge and handed them out. You shoulda called. It's almost supper time, and I haven't prepped anything. Kakashi took his juice, looking glum. The sensei told us. Still, we didn't expect. Noara Lin offered a bright smile. Don't be bummed, General, we might not be teammates anymore, but we're still friends. Anything we can do to help, Kakashi and I are in. They'd been through the war together for a couple of months, so they had a bond. Appreciate the thought. Don't sweat it. It's a bummer, sure, but it's not life or death. No biggie. Enough of that. You guys are eating here tonight. You can be my taste testers. Gen Uchiha grinned and headed into the kitchen. Noara Rin looked at Kakashi, who just shook his head. Xian, can Lin and I give you a hand? You know how to cook. Sure do. Then, come on. It's almost time to eat. Since Tsukumo Hataki's passing, Kakashi had grown more self-reliant and picked up cooking skills. Noera-Lin, from a civilian family, had been taught cooking basics, but their cooking styles were different from Gen Uchiha's, and they cooked dishes neither Kakashi nor Noera-Rin recognized. They were simple dishes from Gen Uchiha's past life: twice-cooked pork, maipo tofu, kung pao chicken, stir-fried veggies, and tomato and egg soup. Gen Uchiha, a Sichuan native in his previous life, stuck mainly to Sichuan cuisine but had learned other dishes from online videos. "How's the grub?" In the dining room, Gen Uchiha watched them take a bite and grinned. "Wow, this is great. Looks kinda weird, but it tastes awesome. Any girl who marries you is gonna be lucky." Noera-Lin's eyes sparkled with delight, nodding like a bobblehead. "Better than anything I've made. Gotta get some pointers from you sometime." Kakashi, mask off, revealed a face as handsome as Uchiha Gen's, and gave his approval. "Huh, if you like it, dig in. Plenty to go around." After that, the three focused on the food. After the meal, Kakashi and Noera-Rin helped with the dishes, then said their goodbyes. Uchiha Gen saw them to the door. "I haven't spent much time with Shisui, but I've heard he's a good guy. Like me, he's an Uchiha who's a little different." Kakashi and Noera-Rin exchanged surprised looks. "Another unusual Uchiha? Were Team 7 an unusual Uchiha destined to cross paths?" "Got it. We'll give him a fair shake. Hope he turns out to be someone we can respect like Obito and you," Kakashi said seriously. "See ya. Bye, Gen." Noera-Lin smiled. Later. Hope Shisui can change the fate of both of you, not holding my breath, though. Even in Class 7, the odds are stacked against them. Uchiha watched them go, lost in thought, with Zhurong and the other Hamets. His actual strength put him at the top of the Jounin, but he still had a long way to go before measuring up to Uchiha Madara, Black Zetsu, and White Zetsu. Even if Uchiha Madara was ancient and near death, a tiger's still a tiger. As soon as the two figures disappeared, a new one appeared. The newcomer wore a black, high-collared, short-sleeved shirt and black pants. With brown armor on his right shoulder, white bandages wrapped around his legs, and the Uchiha crest on his back. He carried a short sword, and his prominent nose was as noticeable as ever. Looks like it's open house today. Uchiha Gen knew why he was sure. His place was way out in the boonies of the Uchiha district. His original parents were ninjas, sure, but neither had awakened the Sharingan. They'd stayed a separate household, so their assigned digs weren't in the prime real estate. He'd automatically been promoted to the main clan after he unlocked the Sharingan, but he couldn't be bothered to move out of his cozy old home. "Shisui, here to see me?" "Yeah, Gen. Uchiha." Shisui smiled warmly, looking at the rising star of the clan, the other half of the Uchiha twin stars. "Wanna talk inside?" "Sure." They entered the living room. "Drink? Juice or tea?" "Juice is good. Tea's too much trouble." Uchiha Gen brought the juice, and they sat on the sofa. Unlike the traditional kneeling in the ninja world, Gen Uchiha liked lounging on sofas and chairs. "So, what's on your mind?" "Wanted to apologize, and ask you about my new teammates." Uchiha Shisui was blunt. "Apologize for what?" "Not your fault, nobody's fault, really. Just a choice. You, me, anyone, as long as they're Uchiha, everything's for the clan." The relationship between Konoha and the Uchiha clan wasn't toxic these days, so Uchiha Shisui didn't disagree with everything's for the clan. Becoming Orochimaru's disciple was good for the Uchiha clan and didn't hurt Konoha. Uchiha Shisui wasn't going to lose sleep over it. "What you said makes sense, but I still feel like I owe you an apology." Gen Uchiha. "Thanks to everyone who kept reading. I won't praise you for reading, and I won't ever praise you for future updates." Chapter 26 Ideological Education Class. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Alright, if you want to apologize, just say it. But what if I don't accept it? How do you want me to respond? Shisui Uchiha. Seeing Shisui's confusion, Gen Uchiha chuckled, relax, I'm just kidding. Of course, I accept it. Now, let me give you my take on Minato-sensei, Kakashi, and Rin. It might not be gospel, so just use it as a reference point. Got it. Thanks. Shisui Uchiha nodded firmly. As a ninja, he understood the need to analyze intel and discern truth from fiction. Gen Uchiha then shared his thoughts on the three, which were mostly positive. After all, you don't badmouth your old teammates. Shisui Uchiha listened intently, forming a general impression of the three, and felt relieved. The young clan leader had high hopes for this, and it was a good sign for the Uchiha clan. If he became a Hokage's disciple like his grandfather, Kagami Uchiha, he couldn't afford to mess it up. Oh, and Shisui, what's the situation like on the Kirigakure front? Shisui Uchiha snapped back to reality and shook his head. Heavy losses, and we're still stuck in a stalemate before I came back. I don't get why the Hokage only sent a small force instead of a full-scale support. Probably to weaken the power of the major families in Konoha, but they wouldn't push it too far. Large troops would probably be sent soon. Even with Konoha's current military strength, they could still muster a sizable force if they really wanted to. Honestly, they didn't even need to send massive troops. Konoha's top-tier fighters and some elite ninja could end the war quickly. Thinking aloud, Uchiha Gen said, the higher-ups probably have reasons we don't know. We should trust the Hokage. You're right, Gen. We don't have the same vantage point. It's easy to miss things and make bad calls. The Hokage and the others are in a position to see the bigger picture and have more information to work with, so they can consider everything more thoroughly. Gen Uchiha. That I was just making small talk, and you're already singing their praises? At this rate, Danzo and his ilk would brainwash this guy into oblivion, twisting his sense of justice. No, he needed to seize this opportunity to give Shisui some real talk, so he wouldn't be easily manipulated. Shisui, are you saying the higher-ups always think things through? Gen Uchiha asked, feigning disbelief. Not always, everyone makes mistakes. I just mean they're more thoughtful than we are. Phew, he wasn't completely lost yet. There was still hope. What if, to be comprehensive, the leadership had to sacrifice the interests of some people, say, the Uchiha clan? What would you think about that? Shisui Uchiha paused, a thoughtful expression on his face. If the sacrifice doesn't result in a significant benefit for Konoha, then I think it's worth it. What do you think? Gen Uchiha grinned. I think sacrificing the interests of some people isn't comprehensive. But if the benefits are worthwhile, it's acceptable for Konoha. Shisui Uchiha chuckled, relieved that they were on the same page. The key is for Konoha, not for Konoha's brass. Shisui Uchiha flinched slightly, looking at Uchiha Gen in surprise. Shisui, you have to understand something. The top brass of Konoha and Konoha itself aren't the same thing. Therefore, the interests of Konoha's leadership aren't always the same as the interests of Konoha. Do you get what I'm saying? Shisui Uchiha nodded, then shook his head. Let me give you an example. Imagine a family with many talented members, and they're thriving. But these talents are headstrong, and the best of them have threatened the position of the family patriarch and elders. If they kept developing, the family would become even more prosperous, but the patriarchs and elders would eventually be replaced by the younger generation. At this point, the interests of the family's leadership have clashed with the interests of the family. Faced with this situation, someone who isn't power-hungry would step aside. But what would the others do? Shisui Uchiha's expression was serious. They'd suppress or even eliminate them, sacrificing the family's bright future to maintain their own power and status. Exactly. What's true for a family is true for a village, and for a country. So, do you understand what I said earlier now? Shisui Uchiha said gravely, I understand. Then, what would you choose? Let me tell you my own choice first. For the sake of the collective, I'm willing to sacrifice certain interests, but for the sake of the collective's leadership, I won't let my own interests be damaged in the slightest. Because the top brass of the collective aren't considering the collective's interests, they're only thinking about themselves. They've betrayed the collective and become its betrayers. Shisui Uchiha carefully considered Gen Uchiha's words, and after a while he said, "Gen, you are right, I will only sacrifice my own interests, even my life, for the collective." Uchiha Gen smiled, and then said, "Shisui, you must know the will of fire, right?" "Of course, I know. This is the first class in the ninja school, and it is emphasized every year. The specific content is, wherever the leaves are flying, the fire will continue to grow. The fire will continue to illuminate the village and make new leaves sprout. The specific meaning is, young people are the hope of the future, and the older generation must trust and protect them. The sacrifice of the older generation is not meaningless, but will inspire young people to become the pillars of the future. The extended meaning is, for Konoha, we should not be afraid of sacrifice. Sacrifice is to protect Konoha. Our families and villagers are the heroes of Konoha. People should follow the example of heroes." Shisui's words rolled off his tongue in one breath without any pause. "Do you think it's right?" Uchiha Gen said seriously. "I think it's right." Normally, Shisui would have agreed without hesitation, but at this moment, he hesitated a little before saying it. "I think it's right too." Shisui breathed a sigh of relief. Fortunately, his knowledge was not broken again. The will of fire means that personal interests should be sacrificed for the collective good, right? Shisui nodded. Then Shisui, do you know the specific relationship between personal interests and collective interests? Shisui thought seriously for a while and then said, is it a mutually dependent relationship? Yes, Jigwa is really smart. Shisui smiled sheepishly upon hearing this. Generally, individual interests and collective interests are fundamentally consistent. For example, if the village is better, the individual talents will be better. Do you understand? I understand, but why is it easy and not certain? Because sometimes collective interests are damaged, individual interests can be preserved, or even greater, just like the example I gave earlier. Shisui nodded, indicating that he understood when individual interests conflict with collective interests, in the long run and from the overall perspective, the collective interests should indeed come first. That is, personal interests should be sacrificed, but Gen Uchiha emphasized, but this kind of sacrifice has limits. Personal interests cannot be sacrificed without limit, otherwise it would be putting the cart before the horse. The collective that sacrifices its personal interests without limit has entered the darkness. Shisui, do you know the original intention of establishing Konoha village? Shisui shook his head. He didn't have time to study, search, or think about history. I checked the information in the clan and asked people of the older generation, and I found out that the original intention of establishing Konoha village was to stop children from going to the battlefield and for peace. If one day, some people use high-sounding excuses to gain more profits, forcing children to embark on the battlefield. Are you saying this is not putting the cart before the horse? Yes. Uchiha Shisui's eyes were bright and decisive. Shien, do you have any objections to the higher-ups in Konoha? Why do I always feel like you are hinting at something? Uchiha Shisui scratched his head and said. I have no objection to Hokage-sama. Uchiha Shienyen said sincerely. I have a problem with the man known as the darkness of the shinobi world. I hope you know more about Root's existence and style than Shisui. That is to say, our Uchiha is strong enough and the clan leader is strong enough. Otherwise, it is not certain whether geniuses like us can stay in Uchiha now. Uchiha Shisui suddenly realized, so that's it, the Roots are indeed not a good place. Okay, that's all for today. Then I'll take my leave now. I'll come see you again when I have the chance. You know so much. You're always welcome, I'll see you off. Okay, thank you. The two of them left the living room. Gen Uchiha watched Shisui leave with a thoughtful look on his face, thoughts swirling in his mind. After such an ideological education class, Shisui shouldn't be ignored by Dai so easily, right? Observe from now on, and just twist it. If you don't twist it, learn the one-hand danzo, but you have to go one step further and do a two-handed kick. Uchiha Gen turned around and returned to the house to practice, entertain and sleep. The next day, the weather was calm, and Gen Uchiha practiced and lived according to the established rhythm. It was still the same on the third day. It wasn't until the fourth day that Anko passed on the news that Orochimaru wanted to see him. Uchiha Gen went home to wash up and then rushed to the agreed place. The depth of the author is only that much. If anything is unreasonable, just have fun reading it. Don't worry too much. You can make suggestions, but don't attack others personally. Chapter 27 Orochimaru. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Uchiha Gen arrived at the Konoha village training grounds 10 minutes early, leaning against a big, shady tree. 8 minutes later, he opened his eyes, spotting a figure emerging from the ground a few feet away. Under the shade, the figure had long black hair, golden eyes, purple eyeshadow extending to his nose, and pale skin. He wore a light yellow kimono with a purple sash, a faint smile on his face, exuding confidence, calm, and a cold, mysterious aura. Lord Orochimaru. Gen straightened up and bowed respectfully. So, you're Gen. I heard from Anko that you want me to train you. Orochimaru eyed Gen with interest, his voice a raspy drawl, like a snake's hiss. Yes. Heh. I know you're the son of the Uchiha twin stars, handsome and reasonably strong, but why should I take you on? Gen replied coolly, because the Uchiha clan can help you become Hokage, Lord Orochimaru. We can provide funds and resources. Heh. And if I say no, will the Uchiha clan throw its full support behind Minato Namikaze? Before he finished, a massive wave of murderous intent erupted from Orochimaru, crashing over General. He barely flinched. Orochimaru's intent was terrifying, enough to kill weaker people with fright. Ordinary ninjas couldn't handle it, losing their composure, but he wasn't some hothouse flower. The Uchiha clan won't fully support anyone, or alienate anyone. The truth is, Uchiha Shisui is already on Team 7, with Minato's approval. If he performs well, he will become Minato-senpai's disciple. Oh, Orochimaru retracted his aura, raising an eyebrow, amused. A playful smile touched his lips. The Uchiha clan really knows how to play the game. That way, no matter who becomes Hokage, you win. A smart move, though a bit unpalatable. Hearing the displeasure in Orochimaru's voice, Gen remained unfazed. The Uchiha clan isn't some small-time operation that has to bet it all. We take the safest route. We have the strength and the foundation to hedge our bets. Orochimaru didn't argue. The most powerful clan in the ninja world had that kind of leverage. Smaller families couldn't compare. Does Minato know about this arrangement? Not yet. And you're not worried I'll tell him? Minato has a big heart. He might be annoyed, but he won't go back on his word. Gen's implication was clear, he wasn't afraid of Orochimaru spilling the beans. Besides, with your pride and confidence, you wouldn't stoop to that, would you, Lord Orochimaru? Heh. Sounds like you've been studying me. Orochimaru smirked, his red tongue flicking like a snake's, his eyes narrowing, making him look dangerous. Gen felt a chill, as if a coiled viper was sizing him up, ready to strike. He raised his guard. Orochimaru was notoriously unpredictable. He said calmly, don't flatter yourself. Human nature is fickle. Anyone who thinks they can completely control human nature is on a fast track to disaster. As soon as he spoke, the pressure vanished. So, you're not some fool who thinks he can control everything. I'll give you that. If I know Fugaku, this scheme didn't come from him. You're the mastermind, aren't you? You have a keen eye, Lord Orochimaru. With the Hokage position up for grabs, we'd be fools not to seize the opportunity. As the saying goes, better to take what's offered than to regret what's lost. The Uchiha clan isn't exactly popular with the current leadership. Since we aren't liked in the old era, we can only hope to be liked in the new. Orochimaru repeated Gen's words, finding them very astute. Seize the opportunity. He thought he understood the village elder's attitude toward the Uchiha. He, Tsunade, and Jiraiya had received similar training, but they were different from those old fools and had their own thoughts, so they were not affected. His teacher's attitude was acceptable, but that Danzo hated the Uchiha clan. Looks like the Uchiha clan has finally produced someone of worth. Orochimaru sighed, looking at the young man. The Uchiha he'd met were skilled fighters, but their understanding of politics and the world was pathetic. Thank you, Lord Orochimaru, but I just like to read a lot, broaden my horizons, and think. Ha. Fine. I'll make this deal with the Uchiha clan. I need you to provide substantial funding. As long as your support for Namikaze doesn't exceed that amount. Relying solely on Danzo for research funds was a losing game. New sources of funding would allow him to accelerate his research, and not be so passive. As for the Uchiha's support for Minato, Orochimaru didn't take it seriously. First, while Namikaze Minato had outstanding military achievements, his rise was too short and his foundation insufficient. Even though Namikaze Minato was Jiraiya's disciple, he was also his partner. With Jiraiya's temperament, they would probably not help each other. The best situation would be Tsunade standing by, doing nothing for Jiraiya's sake. If Tsunade helped him, Namikaze Minato basically has no chance of winning. Unless his teacher endorses Minato Namikaze, he is more likely to rise to power. Second, he was no longer as obsessed with the Hokage position as before. He'd found a greater purpose, and running for Hokage was just to shake off his old obsession. If it works, great. If not, no big deal. Mastering all ninjutsu, immortality, and exploring all the secrets of the ninja world were his goals now. Don't worry, Orochimaru-sensei. I'll pass your request on to the clan leader. It shouldn't be a problem. Gen seized the chance. Orochimaru nodded slightly and said, from now on, you'll be responsible for transporting the money. Now, let me see your strength. If I'm impressed, I'll take the time to guide you. If I'm not, this is just a financial arrangement. Gen said seriously, I'll do my best to earn your approval. He wanted to get many things from Orochimaru, and he wouldn't succeed without recognition and trust. Moreover, Orochimaru was a good teacher. Anko was an exception, because she did not leave Konoha with Orochimaru and was affected by Orochimaru's defection. No master was willing to teach her. He himself was deeply hit by Orochimaru's defection and Orochimaru's behavior before leaving. During the years when his strength grew most rapidly, he fell into a state of decay and neglected his training, so in the end he was just a special jounin. Orochimaru looked down on fools but appreciated geniuses. Anko was a genius to be noticed by Orochimaru. It would not be difficult for him to grow up as a jounin normally, and the possibility of becoming a Kage level was not small. Sasuke was the proof of Orochimaru's teaching ability. Chapter 28. There are hundreds of millions of talents. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Some people think Sasuke learned nothing from Orochimaru, but they're dead wrong. Without Orochimaru, the gap between Sasuke and Itachi was like looking into a bottomless pit. Sasuke's stats, ninjutsu, taijutsu, genjutsu, chakra control, strength, speed, stamina, and seals, all of them except stamina, were completely outclassed. Stamina reflects the amount of chakra, but even with more chakra, Sasuke was still losing in every other category. It just didn't matter, especially in genjutsu. Sasuke only had 3 points compared to Itachi's 10. And Itachi loved using genjutsu. Out of a possible 80 points, Itachi scored an impressive 71, while Sasuke only managed a 45. Sasuke trained with Orochimaru for 3 years, getting intensive instruction in taijutsu, genjutsu, ninjutsu, seals, and spiritual power. His score jumped from 45 to 63, a huge improvement. Genjutsu, in particular, went from 3 to 8. The Sharingan gives you hypnotic eyes, but that doesn't automatically make your genjutsu better when it evolves. You have to actually learn genjutsu to use the hypnotic eyes effectively. In the character databook, Sasuke had a 3-tomo Sharingan but was still a genjutsu novice. He didn't even use genjutsu on Naruto during their fight at the Valley of the End. That's the impact Orochimaru had. He's a genjutsu master, the only one in the databook with a perfect 5 out of 5 in that area. The others with top genjutsu skills are Itachi, Kurenai Yuhi, Taiyuya, and Hiruzen Sarutobi. Orochimaru, despite being a genjutsu expert, was taken down by Itachi in seconds. This was mainly because Orochimaru's soul was weakened after reincarnation, making him more vulnerable to genjutsu, so, it wasn't shocking that Itachi, another genjutsu user with the added power of the Mangekyo Sharingan, won easily. Kurenai Yuhi was also defeated instantly by Itachi, plus, remember that data is just data. Some people max out their potential with perfect scores, while others have points left on the table, meaning they weren't even close to their limit. Thanks to his big improvement in genjutsu, Sasuke managed to fight back against Orochimaru and hold his own against Itachi in their initial genjutsu exchange. Genjutsu saw the biggest jump, but ninjutsu and speed also got better, reaching top-tier levels of 10 and 9. The signature ninjutsu from this period is the Chidori Stream series. Sasuke already knew Chidori before joining Orochimaru, and Orochimaru didn't know it himself, but that doesn't mean Orochimaru couldn't offer effective guidance. When Naruto was learning Wind Release Rasen Shuriken, Kakashi and Yamato didn't teach him Wind Release directly. They had him ask Asuma for advice. But Kakashi and Yamato were still instrumental in Naruto mastering the technique. Yamato used water and earth release to create a training ground and would release to suppress the nine-tailed fox's chakra inside Naruto. Kakashi provided training methods, helped him build experience with shadow clones, and explained the nature and shape transformations. Orochimaru did the same for Sasuke. Orochimaru's basic ninja skill is a perfect 10, and he aims to master every ninjutsu. He has all chakra natures. Hiruzen Sarutobi called him the most gifted ninja he'd seen in decades. His specialty is creating forbidden techniques, so, his guidance for Sasuke was definitely on par with Kakashi and Yamato. Sasuke's Super 9 level speed came from his natural talent, the Curse Mark's power, and Orochimaru's influence. Sasuke mastered the Heaven's Curse Mark during the Valley of the End battle, but it still had untapped potential. The Curse Mark helped Sasuke many times. For example, his hand seal speed wasn't as fast as Itachi's, but the Curse Mark made him capable of pulling off miracles. Sasuke's taijutsu went from 5 to 7. There are no shortcuts here. After copying the body, you have to train hard and fight for real. Orochimaru, who controlled the Hidden Sound Village, provided Sasuke with training partners. Combined with electrotherapy, Sasuke became a strong melee fighter, though still far from Killer Bee's level. Finally, their summoning techniques. The snakes in Ryuchi Cave don't have as many tricks as those on Mount Myaboku, but Sasuke still learned a lot about using them. Snake summoning often saved Sasuke from danger, most notably during Deidara's self-destruction attack. There's also the Orochi-style substitution technique to deal with Amaterasu and Kirin, which can kill in one hit. The Orochi-style substitution technique is top tier. When Kirin appeared, Itachi didn't seem to be faking his surprise. The big improvement in Genjutsu basics, a normal soul, and the boost from his 3-tomo Sharingan meant Sasuke wouldn't react like Kakashi when facing Tsukuyomi. Overall, after 3 years with Orochimaru, Sasuke went from being outmatched in every way to being able to face Itachi. The idea that Itachi could beat Sasuke instantly from the start is just wrong. Ninja battles always start with testing the waters, not going all out from the get-go. Given Itachi's limited chakra and poor health, Sasuke could have worn him down by avoiding direct attacks. The half-body Susanoo has a limited range, but Sasuke is fast and has many ways to survive. The Totsuka blade isn't a guaranteed hit. Even if it were, Sasuke could escape with the Orochi-style substitution technique. If Orochimaru hadn't been showing off and been stabbed by the Totsuka blade before using the Orochimaru substitution technique, he wouldn't have been sealed. Sasuke's strength is a result of his talent, hard work, and Orochimaru's training. You can't just dismiss it all. Uchiha Gen believed Itachi was genuinely surprised by Sasuke's power, even if he underestimated him, let alone intentionally letting him win. It's unfair to erase Sasuke's 3 years of hard training with simple claims of holding back. Orochimaru's teaching ability is too good to ignore. Even if someone has their own training plan, who would say no to becoming more well-rounded and stronger? I look forward to your performance, Orochimaru said, then suddenly attacked. He lunged forward and punched Gen Uchiha's face. Gen Uchiha dodged, grabbed Orochimaru's arm, and kicked toward his abdomen. Orochimaru blocked the kick, twisted the grabbed arm, his wrist becoming as flexible as if it were boneless, and countered by clasping Uchiha Gen's wrist. Uchiha Gen raised his right hand and struck the connection between Orochimaru's forearm and upper arm. Orochimaru released his grip and unleashed a flurry of punches, kicks, palms, and knees. Gen Uchiha activated his Sharingan and calmly responded. The two figures moved swiftly, dodging, squatting, jumping, and flipping. They moved with precision and ruthlessness. The sound of their fists and feet colliding echoed. After 3 minutes, even with the added power of his Tsutomu Sharingan, Uchiha Gen felt he was losing ground, so he drew the ninja sword on his back to fight back. Orochimaru's taijutsu was strong, fast, and precise. With unexpected and unusual moves, Orochimaru evaded the blade and quickly retreated, spitting out the sticky Kusanagi sword from his mouth. Orochimaru grasped the sword and rushed forward. Clang! 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 The sound of metal on metal rang out, sparks flying. The sword fight was even more intense than their earlier hand-to-hand combat. Latent shadow snake hand. 2 minutes later, Orochimaru fainted with the Kusanagi sword in his right hand. Then, with a flick of his left sleeve, 4 black and gray poisonous snakes appeared, aiming for the neck, heart, and waist. Genjutsu is the way to go. Seeing the snakes, Gen Uchiha put them under a genjutsu, causing them to involuntarily change direction. The attack failed, and Gen Uchiha thrust his sword towards Orochimaru's heart. Orochimaru blocked with his sword and said with admiration, "Your taijutsu and swordsmanship are pretty good, but what impresses me is your genjutsu. You used a mere C-rank genjutsu to avoid a fatal sneak attack, activating it through the Sharingan without hand seals. You have real talent for illusions." Orochimaru knew Uchiha Gen had a Sharingan, so he slowly built chakra for the snake attack from the start of the fight. Uchiha Gen's Tsutomu Sharingan hadn't noticed anything. Detecting such subtle chakra changes would probably require the insight of the 3-tomo Sharingan or the Byakugan. I guess I am pretty good at genjutsu. Luckily, I have that talent. Without the Sharingan's insight, I might have been tricked. Looks like I can't rely too much on the Sharingan. Good that you realize that. Even though the Sharingan is powerful, you can't depend on it completely. Orochimaru said this firmly. While he was interested in the Sharingan, he wasn't obsessed with it. Come again, show me more of your talents. Orochimaru's voice was excited, happy to have found a good test subject. As you wish. Sorry, there are some digressions in this chapter. It's because I felt Sasuke was wronged in his battle with Itachi. 3 years of risky training were dismissed. Some comments really bugged me. Chapter 29 Recognition. You are listening at novelfull.audio. After speaking, Gen Uchiha leaped back, forming a hand-sword seal in midair. His feet hit the ground just as he finished the seal. Fire style, fireball jutsu. His chest swelled, and a line of golden-orange fire shot from his mouth, instantly becoming a massive fireball, easily 10 feet across. It rolled forward, radiating intense heat. Orochimaru didn't dodge the approaching inferno. Instead, he drew the Kusanagi sword, which extended rapidly as he slashed. A layer of blue chakra enveloped the blade. The sword sliced through the fireball, splitting it in two, and continued on, forcing Gen Uchiha to duck to avoid it. The fireball dissipated, its form destroyed. Because he was dodging, Gen Uchiha couldn't sustain the chakra needed to control it, so it was no longer a threat. Orochimaru casually let the flames pass, then quickly retracted the Kusanagi sword back into his mouth. He seemed completely at ease, showing no desire to attack. The gap between a Kage-level ninja and a Jonin is immense. Even a Jonin from the Uchiha clan didn't pose a significant threat to Orochimaru. Suddenly, Orochimaru sensed something. He lightly sighed and jumped back just as a pair of hands burst from the earth. Realizing his attack had failed, the figure in the dirt erupted from the ground. It was Gen Uchiha, launching 3 shuriken. Orochimaru was airborne and unable to brace himself, but his body's flexibility was unmatched. He twisted, dodging all 3 shuriken. These were just ordinary shuriken, a smokescreen to conceal the presence of Hamets. To most ninjas, it would look like wire manipulation, but Orochimaru, with his powerful senses, wouldn't be fooled. Seeing his attack miss, the two Gen Uchiha stood side by side, simultaneously forming hand seals. Fire Style, Flame Extinguisher. Wind Style, Great Breakthrough. Combining their ninjutsu, the wind amplifying the fire, golden-orange flames surged toward Orochimaru like a tidal wave. The continuous boost intensified the flames, turning them gold. Although the range was only a fraction of Madara Uchiha's, the flames were hotter. When Gen Uchiha trained in fire nature transformation, he focused on maximizing flame temperature. Increasing flame temperature is difficult, but with Zhu Rong as his guide, it was easier than for other ninjas. Flames of different colors have different temperatures: dark red flame, 1100 degree F. Crimson flame, 1300 degree F. Orange red flame, 1800 degree F. Pure orange flame, 2000 degree F. Golden orange flame, 2200 degree F. Golden flame, 2400 degrees F. Golden white flame, 2550 degree F. Pure white flame, 2700 degree F. Feeling the intense heat, Orochimaru's expression turned serious. This combined ninjutsu was too powerful for water style to effectively counter. And obviously, wind or lightning style wouldn't be any better. Earth style could be used as a barrier, but unlike a flood, these searing flames wouldn't be comfortable to withstand. Gotta set a good example as a teacher, he thought, deciding. Orochimaru bit his thumb, pressed his hands to the ground, and watched as two circles of black lines spread outwards. Summoning Jutsu, Rashomon. The earth rumbled. A tall, imposing ghost-faced gate with a red background and white fangs rose from the ground. The gate opened wide, swallowing all the flames. With its mission complete, Rashomon dissipated into smoke. The training ground was scorched black, the vibrant green grass reduced to ash. Wind Style, Wind Net. Faced with the smoke-filled area, Uchiha Genko didn't dare charge in blindly. He had his shadow clone use Wind Style, while he formed a Fire Style seal. Uchiha Genkai only knew two wind release ninjutsu, Great Breakthrough and Wind Net. The former amplified fire release, while the latter restricted the opponent's movement, making his slower fire release more likely to hit. Violent winds swept through the smoke. They were substantial, laced with wind belts crisscrossing into a massive net. The smoke cleared quickly, revealing nothing. The wind net struck the trees, causing the leaves to swirl, and leaving deep scratches on the trunks. If he's not above, then. The two Uchiha Gen sprang into action, constantly shifting their positions. Orochimaru, underground, realized his ambush had failed and adjusted his strategy. The ground trembled, and Uchiha Gen saw bulges moving toward him, encircling them with incredible speed. Puff, puff, puff. The bulges exploded as thick, green, black, and brown snakes emerged from the ground, attacking from all sides. While Uchiha Gen was distracted by the snakes, Orochimaru used Earth Style to quietly reposition. Preparing to strike. Fire Style, Ash Dust Stun Jutsu. Uchiha Gen and his shadow clone simultaneously performed the ninjutsu, spewing balls of superheated flames and scorching dust from their mouths. The dust settled and spread rapidly, like a gray, billowing wave. Hiss, hiss, star. The snakes couldn't withstand the intense heat and burning dust. They hissed in pain, writhing in the dust, and eventually vanished in puffs of smoke. Orochimaru, hidden nearby, smirked as he observed the scalding dust engulfing the training ground. Gen mastered a lot of fire-style ninjutsu. Even mastering difficult and rare fire-release ninjutsu like Dusgakur is a bit tricky. The high-temperature dust completely masked Gen Uchiha's body heat, disrupting the thermal imaging he'd gained from the snakes, making his true position undetectable. Still can't launch a sneak attack, huh? Guess it's just ninjutsu, then. Wind Style, Great Breakthrough. The power of this jutsu is determined by the caster's chakra. Coming from Orochimaru, a Kage-level powerhouse, it was immense. A relentless gale blasted from Orochimaru's mouth. The force was so intense that even ninjas who typically anchored themselves with chakra struggled to stay grounded. Sand and rocks swirled through the training ground, quickly dispersing the dust. The test ends here. Come out. I know you're there. Seeing no one in the training ground, Orochimaru announced moments later, two figures appeared in the empty space, one emerging from the ground, the other from the trees bordering the training ground. Haha. He even knows camouflage hidden technique. He knows a ton of jutsu. With the three attributes, fire, wind, and earth, he'd still be considered a genius, even without the Sharingan. A slight smile played on Orochimaru's pale lips as he sincerely complimented Gen. Though his disciple hadn't reached Kage level yet, his strength was still remarkable among Jonin. The key was his youth and natural talent. The next few years would be a period of rapid growth. With his guidance, if he didn't falter, he had a strong chance of reaching Kage level. Such a promising disciple could be his greatest asset if he played his cards right. I need to pay closer attention to this. Poof star. The Gen Uchiha who had been selected from the training ground disappeared in a puff of smoke. Two detonating tags fell to the ground. The real Gen Uchiha's face was pale. It's nothing serious, just a bit chakra exhaustion. He picked up the detonating tags and put them back in his ninja pouch. These things are pretty expensive. I know far fewer ninjutsu than Orochimaru-sensei. I still have a lot to learn. After speaking, Uchiha Gen picked up the detonating talisman and put it back into his ninja bag. This thing is quite expensive, please read more, especially on Mondays and Tuesdays, when you decide to test the waters. Thank you all. Chapter 30 Ultimate Recognition, please read more. You are listening at novelfull.audio. As long as you do well and you're a quick learner, the teacher won't hold back on the ninjutsu. Let's find a place to chill and chat. With that, Orochimaru turned and headed for a shady spot, untouched by the battle and completely shielded from the sun. It's worth noting that no matter how much racket someone makes in the training ground, no one cares, as long as it doesn't spill over. The training ground is for ninjas to train and fight, and training and fighting are considered pretty private. Uchiha Gen nodded, followed Orochimaru, and found a patch of grass under a tree not far from him. Shien, got a dream? Orochimaru leaned against the tree trunk, totally relaxed, legs crossed, hands behind his head, golden eyes gazing at the sky. Why do people around here love asking about dreams? Couldn't they think of anything else? Or is Orochimaru trying to see if we're on the same wavelength? Uchiha rolled his eyes inwardly, but kept his face smooth. Sure, everyone's got a dream, or what's the point? That's an interesting take. So, what's your dream? Orochimaru lowered his head, peering at Uchiha General. A half-smile played on his pale lips, giving him a slightly unsettling look. I've got two dreams, and maybe more down the line. Greedy much? Lay it on me. First, dreams to live free. Orochimaru's eyebrows twitched. This student was showing a rebellious streak, but, as long as he keeps getting stronger, he can keep him in check. They say crows can't see their own blackness, but Orochimaru definitely has a rebellious side, and it's a big one, several-sized. That's a tough dream to pull off. Everyone's tied down in this world, by family, by the ninja code, by the comforts of the everyday, by the village, by the ninja world, by lifespan. If I want to live free, doing exactly what I want, that's impossible. Gen Uchiha shook his head. Teacher Orochimaru, being free doesn't mean doing whatever you please. I just want to be able to say no when something comes along that I don't want to do. Okay, that dials down the difficulty quite a bit. With my power and my status as your teacher, no one can really force me to do anything I'm dead set against. Not even my teacher could. Gen Uchiha nodded in agreement. Take his human experiments, for instance. If Orochimaru flat out refused to work on them, Sarutobi Hiruzen and the other Konoha bigwigs couldn't make him. Same reason why Jiraiya and Tsunade can bum around outside without a care in the world. No run-of-the-mill ninja could ever have it that free and easy. What's dream number 2? Gen Uchiha's face turned apprehensive, and he went silent for a good while. Orochimaru perked up at that. Spill it. What's it look like? Seeing that, Uchiha Gen gritted his teeth. I want to chase ultimate power, the power to control whatever I want, hang with whoever I want, see the sights I want to see, eat the food I crave. And if there's an expiration date after I nail it all, I hope it's never, never. Orochimaru's eyes lit up. Was he talking about immortality? He wanted to master every ninjutsu and uncover every truth in the world. Next to that, his student's ambition was, well, a bit basic. Ultimate power was a noble pursuit, and influence wasn't bad either. All kinds of manpower and resources could be tapped to push research forward. But women, scenery, food? Doesn't matter how gorgeous the scenery, it's just a pile of dead stuff. Women are pointless outside of reproduction, and food's just fuel. Who cares if it tastes good? Tacky, sure, but commendable to share his obsession with immortality. They were kindred spirits. Everyone else dismissed eternal life as impossible, the blind leading the blind. He was dead set on cracking this forbidden field, becoming the first in history to pull it off. The thought sent a thrill through Orochimaru, and his gaze fixed on Gen Uchiha with a newfound intensity. Uchiha Gen felt a shiver run down his spine, but he kept his cool. He knew Orochimaru didn't have some twisted thing for him, but was just jazzed to find someone on the same page, with Orochimaru's obsession with immortality. If you even hinted at wanting it too, even if you were a nobody, he probably wouldn't hurt you. He'd nurture you, protect you. Orochimaru, chasing immortality all alone, was a lonely guy, because nobody got him, not even his closest teachers and teammates. Orochimaru needed someone to understand, to back him up, to partner with. Sure, he'd still grind on solo, but who picks loneliness if they don't have to? Even a time traveler like him, with cheat codes and a bloodline, could use Orochimaru. He wasn't playing Orochimaru. He seriously wanted to live forever. Nothing's more desirable than eternal life. It's the ultimate want, the total package of every desire out there. Never mind immortality, people go bonkers for a few extra years. Life and death. That's a terrifying gap. Of course, some people shrug off life and death, but they're few and far between. Most people are scared to die. If it's possible to cheat death in this world, why not go for it? Ahem, maybe dream number 2's a long shot. Teacher Orochimaru, what about you? What's your dream? Become Hokage. That when Orochimaru heard that, he gradually reined himself in, or at least his eyes weren't burning a hole through him. He smirked, and his voice dropped into a husky murmur. Teacher, I'm a greedy guy myself. Becoming Hokage's just my first dream. It's small potatoes compared to the second. What's dream number 2? Uchiha Gen asked smoothly. I want to master every ninjutsu in the world and uncover every truth there is. And since that's impossible in one lifetime, I want to chase immortality. That with a like-minded student like Uchiha Gen, Orochimaru held nothing back. For the first time, he voiced the ambition he buried deep down. Gen Uchiha was speechless for a moment. Teacher, that dream's way bigger than mine. Orochimaru gave a satisfied smile. Don't sweat it. Yours might be a little basic, but we both crave immortality. Just a notch below my quest, but miles above whatever honors those Uchiha of yours are chasing. Uchiha Gen said seriously, thank you, Master Orochimaru, for opening my eyes. I'm ready to follow you and help you on the road to eternal life. Ha ha ha. Orochimaru threw back his head and let out a laugh, pure joy and heartiness ringing through it. Maybe this was the happiest day he'd had since coming to this world. He hadn't felt this good when he'd first scraped by as a student, all alone. Don't think you're getting out of work, though. That's all for today. Be at my place at 2 tomorrow afternoon. Know where it is? Ask Anko. Got it. With that, Orochimaru melted into the earth. As Orochimaru disappeared, Uchiha Genya turned and left, a smile playing on his face.